Hey everybody, today we're going to be in Genesis chapter 23, so if you want to flip over there, that's where we're going to be. I'm just going to read the whole chapter, so buckle up and hang on. Right here we're talking about the death of Sarah has just happened, Abraham's wife, and this is Abraham dealing with that and going about some planning and stuff that follows. So starting in verse 1 of chapter 23. Sarah lived 127 years. These were the years of the life of Sarah. And Sarah died at Kiriath Arba, that is Hebron, in the land of Canaan, and Abraham went in to mourn for Sarah and to weep for her. And Abraham rose up from before his dead and said to the Hittites, I am a sojourner and foreigner among you. Give me property among you for a burying place, that I may bury my dead out of my sight. And the Hittites answered Abraham, Hear us, my lord, you are a prince of God among us. Bury your dead in the choicest of our tombs. None of us will withhold from you his tomb to hinder you from burying your dead. Abraham rose and bowed to the Hittites, the people of the land, and he said to them, If you're willing that I should bury my dead out of my sight, hear me and entreat for me Ephron the son of Zohar, that he may give to me the cave of Machpelah, which he owns, that is at the end of his field. For the full price, let him give it to me in your presence as property for a burying place. Now Ephron was sitting among the Hittites, and Ephron the Hittite answered Abraham in the hearing of all the Hittites, of all those who went into the gate of the city, No, my lord, hear me, I give you the field, and I give you the cave that is in the end of it. In the sight of the sons of my people, behold, I give it to you. Bury your dead. And Abraham bowed before the people of the land, and he said to Ephron in the hearing of the people of the land, But if you will, hear me. I give the price of the field, accept it from me, that I may bury my dead there. Ephron answered Abraham, My lord, listen to me. A piece of land worth 400 shekels of silver, what is that between you and me? Go and bury your dead. Abraham listened to Ephron, and Abraham weighed out for Ephron the silver that he had named in the hearing of the Hittites, 400 shekels of silver, according to the weights current among the merchants. So the field of Ephron and Machpelah, which was east of Mamre, and the field with the cave that was in it, and all the trees that were in the field, throughout the whole area was made over to Abraham as a possession in the presence of the Hittites before all who were at the gate of the city. After this, Abraham buried his wife Sarah in the cave of the field of Machpelah east of Mamre, that is Hebron, in the land of Canaan. So that's kind of a random section of scripture here. But here's what I want you to see from this. And here's what I want us to strive after. Abraham was a stranger to these people. He did live in this area, but he wasn't a native. He wasn't their family. He wasn't anything super close. He just lived near them. Yet these people who had seen Abraham and seen how he had lived and how he interacted with them and how he had lived peaceably among them, they felt for him. They saw him suffering and they wanted to help. So they offer, here, take anything you want. Your wife has died. We understand you're in immense pain and grief right now. Take whatever you want. And Abraham says, well, okay, then this guy, Ephron, I want his field. I would like to bury my wife there. And so Ephron steps up and he's like, here, take it. To which Abraham is kind of taken back, it seems. And he insists on paying, and Ephron's like, no, please just take it. And it seems like Ephron slipped a little bit. He said, a piece of land worth 400 shekels of silver. What's that between you and me? And Abraham hears the price. He's like, okay, here, just take the 400 pieces of silver and we'll call it even. I want y'all to strive to live in communities like this. It sounds strange, and this is a very extreme case, but let's try to be the people that when we see people around us struggling, when we see people around us hurting, we stop at nothing, including a cost to ourselves, to help. Let's give up things that we think are ours, and we have this idea of all these possessions belong to us and they're mine, you can't take them. Instead, let's be the kind of people like Ephron, who sees someone hurting and wants everything in their power to help so that they give. And 400 pieces of silver, that's a very large amount of money. But to him, it was nothing, because it meant helping somebody. It meant helping somebody through this grieving process. And Abraham, not wanting to cheat him by any means, insists on paying. And actually, this interchange gets mentioned quite a few other times in Genesis. Whenever this field and whenever this tomb is mentioned, it always mentions that it used to belong to Ephron, right? So, kind of an odd message today, but I want you to hear this. Let's be this kind of community. Let's be people that when we see people around us struggling and hurting, that we want to go out and help. And if that costs us something, great. David, when he was about to build the temple, well, he wasn't going to, but he was buying the land for the temple. He was buying it from somebody, and they tried to give it to him, very similar to this. And David's response was striking and stuck with me. He says, "I will not give anything to the Lord that cost me nothing." I think that's a really good way that we need to start viewing our possessions. We need to see our possessions as nothing more than our means to help others, to build up others, to strengthen them, to give them help in their need. So think about today, what are some things that you have that you can use to help those around you? Are you mentally willing and emotionally ready to part with some things that you felt like are yours for the sake of someone else? If you're not, I ask that you think about that. And if you are, I ask that you do something with that. We're in a time where we have a whole lot of people hurting. We have a whole lot of people feeling alone and isolated, and much like Abraham was feeling here. So let's be a community like this one. Let's be a community where when we see hurting, we go, and even if it costs us a whole lot, we help. Keep that in mind, and that's our devotional thought for today. If you want to be notified whenever we put up these videos, you can subscribe, and you can click a bell icon, which should give you a notification whenever we put up a new video. We long to see you, but for now, have a great day, and be thinking on Genesis 23.